warriors already to give a fatal blow. Observe the sums of time, guided by civilization. Like a beacon, spread the words. The world cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the King of Glory. The symbol touch the sky. Together, heart champion. Charge without fear. Climb the highest mountain. The way to glory is higher than the sky. The sound of war fill the planet. We are the heroes that will make history. Words will spread through kindness. Temple the God will walk our battle beat the legends never end. Swords come through the gates of hell. All will be ready. Unlike us, warriors, impeccable strategies. When the sharpest blade are drawn, enemies will be cut. Like the symbol for all glory. Fight to the top, and will be my call. Storm is coming, reveal the mystery. Hidden warriors already to give a fatal blow. Observe the sums of time, guided by civilization. Like a beacon, spread the words. The world cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the King of Glory. The symbol touch the sky. Together, heart champion. Charge without fear. Climb the highest mountain. The way to glory is higher than the sky. The sound of war fill the planet. We are the heroes that will make history. Words will spread through kindness. Temple the God will walk our
What is going on, Governors? Chiscool here, and today I'm joined by Plato Gaming to cast the Ark of Osiris Grand Prix. Plato, I almost said the Ark of Osiris League, but this is a separate event, the Grand Prix. Plato, how are you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, Chisco, we're up here bright and early today to bring this exciting Grand Prix action with VOOK versus 89CG. So it should be a great match upcoming here.
Yeah, this should be a really hype matchup between two teams that we're going to spend a little bit of time before the matchup begins getting to know. But before we even get into the breakdown on these teams, I do want to remind you that we're going to be casting today's games on a 12-minute delay. It's a long delay to maintain the competitive integrity of this special tournament environment. And in case you're just checking this out for the very first time, the Grand Prix is an event where top teams from all around the world, in different servers even, come together and they play games on accounts that have a standardized set of stuff. They've got access to all the commanders. They've got access to like 5 sets of every single equipment item in the game. And they've got the same building blocks to make an amazing team. So seeing which team bubbles up to the top actually is a pretty good indicator as to which teams are the very best. So with that said, Plato, tell us a little bit about the matchup that we have this morning between these two teams. What do we need to know about 89CG, and what do we need to know about VOOK?
Yeah, so VOOK is coming from the Chinese server in the side of Isset, or blue side. They are one of the teams that signed up and qualified through the having enough power, or being one of the most powerful teams that signed up. And the amount of power that they have is astonishing. At 35 people, 35 accounts, being 14.4 billion power combined.
Holy cow.
That's more than most alliances in the international server, which is insane to think about. So they are very powerful players. Some of them come from, I believe, A97, which is the favorites, one of the favorites in the Chinese server. Some of them come from that server as well. So they seem to be as the sign-in teams are kind of iffy because you don't know how often they've played together, but I think it'll be really interesting to see how they verse off against 89CG, which I believe was the finals winner in last season in Osiris League. And 89CG, everyone knows 2489, one of the strongest Imperiums in the international server. And they have household names such as Baba, they have Fa, they have Arvix. So we'll have to see how those players face off against VOOK.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for this matchup. And funny story, I met Baba in person just this last week in the Cologne, Germany Rise of Kingdoms meetup. So it was super cool to meet him and others. It's going to be fun to see him play. And, you know, my general sense, as you were describing, is that the community teams, it's really cool to see lots of different super high power players come together to qualify to play the tournament. But they're at, in my estimation, a pretty big disadvantage compared to the teams that are tried and true and have spent a season actually winning Osiris League together. Now, that's not to say that the community teams can't put in some work, which is what we're really eager to see in today's matchup. Will VOOK be able to win? And can a community team beat one of the league-winning teams? It is definitely possible with the building blocks all being exactly the same. So I am really hyped for that, which, by the way, we don't have much time before the matchup begins. On my end, I'm just going to get a peek over here to see exactly when that starts, and I'll bring us into the match actually very soon here. So, you know, before we do that, Plato, what's your estimate on the point spread we're going to see in this game? Not even who necessarily wins, but what do you think the differential in points is going to be?
Yeah, it's so tough to tell, Chisco, because two different servers. I personally don't know how to gauge the Chinese server versus international server yet, and that's what's so interesting about this particular Grand Prix being one of the first events, or if not the first event, where the Chinese server and the international servers intermingle and kind of go off and verse each other. But I guess I would have to say like a 3K differential for either team. I'm not too sure which team could win because these teams have never versed off against each other. We've never seen footage of these teams versing against each other, but it should be a really, really interesting game. One thing I will say is from what I've been seeing in the previous matches with Chinese teams from the Chinese server, they are very objective focused. They go for these structures really, really hard to the point where it kind of it makes international teams kind of think twice, where usually there's a set timer, a set meta where the international teams start walking mid and starting to contest that mid objective so that they could secure the arc. Well, if the Chinese teams control both of your sky altars, the real question is, what will the international teams do? So we'll have to see what happens in this game, but that's going to be the things I'm looking out for.
Okay. You know, it is interesting also to take a look at the skill bars. A part of, how we are instructed to cast is to show the skill bars for both teams. And they're pretty much aligned on what they took here, with one exception. And it's the second skill slot on the left for VOOK and the third skill slot on the right. So there's a
Defensive
3-point
formation
ability
versus Heaven's Grace. Yeah.
Yeah, mystical formation, adds a bunch of defense versus Heaven's Grace, a global healing ability. And there is a difference in the cost of these abilities. I think the thing I like about the mystical formation take is that if you were short on the energy to activate the abilities, it is one less in cost. Mm-hmm. So I think their game plan is to use the mystical formation perhaps only in situations where they can't use the other 4-cost ability that they've sort of got in their roster. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they think that 4-cost ability is just the better of the two, so they took a 3-cost ability just to diversify and make sure they can always use some points effectively. Because, they've got a 2-point ability, a 3-point ability, a 4-point ability,
gotcha.
A 6-point ability. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I played a lot of card games back in the day. And, I think about rising mana costs of abilities and having cards that are a spread of cost. And, that's what you see here. Anyways, the match begins and the hidden sentries go down. Here we go.
Alrighty.
So where are we getting vision to, Plato? Huh.
Wow. They're in different lanes. The first hidden sentry from 89 CG here being right below the top VOOK obelisk. And then we see VOOK having a rather defensive sentry revolving around their Shrine of War, in between their Shrine of War and the Sky Altar in the bottom lane here. So
yeah. They are going very quickly to grab these buildings, although it is interesting to see when teams decide to either tap the outpost or purposefully ignore the outpost. We see one of many Arvixes on their way over here to get the obelisk. And your eyes do not deceive you. There are many flavors of Arvix in this matchup. So you'll see several variations on this name here. It's not one player all over the place, but many different accounts.
Arvix is omnipresent in this match for sure, with
yes.
how many there are.
Welcome to the Arvix verse.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to VOOK's sentry placement. It's very, very defensive. I think it was probably trying to find an opponent's sentry, maybe as a defensive sentry, because there isn't really too much vision that they could gain from this area. But because of that, I'm going to be looking out for any shenanigans in the outer lane that they might be trying to pull towards the Shrine of Life.
What a great point. What do you learn by placing your own sentry so defensively? You can maybe peek at attacks coming from around the pyramid, but they didn't even cover all of that area by the pyramid. So, yeah, it is perhaps hunting out an enemy's sentry. And, at the end of the day, if you place your sentry and take out the enemies, you're up a sentry. Even if it's not all that helpful of a sentry, you're still technically up a sentry. So, the first clash here. Who's going to win? And I don't know. Do you think the buildings are just going to be even for the upcoming mid fight, or is one of these teams going to have an edge?
I'm gonna be really curious to see how um VOOK plays these outer lanes here. One of the things that I saw from previous matches was there was a lot of outer lane shenanigans with fog, where marches. I'm actually seeing 89CG right now put marches out into the fog so that they can see different marches in case they come to wrap around at the Sky Altar.
Yeah.
They are going super, super wide towards the Shrine of Life here. So it's going to be really interesting to see these outer lanes and how there's kind of like an outer lane now in the fog where it's kind of like the secret passage to contest these structures.
Stealth mode engaged is the idea, right? You can fly under the enemy's radar and then hit them when they don't expect it. I mean, hey, look, you can either pay points to teleport your marches and land somewhere. I suppose the enemy will see where you're going, or you can just walk in the cover of darkness and then show up where you need to show up, completely unexpected.
Who needs sneaky tactics when you have
when you
fog
can just
of
be
war?
sneaky? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, I will say we do see the master strategist on the bars here for both teams, so we can expect perhaps they'll show up somewhere. But wow, this fight we just watched, super one-sided for VOOK. I wonder if on the other side,
It's super one-sided for 89CG in the bottom lane.
So one of these two teams, I suspect it's VOOK, committed more to defending that lane in the top.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I mean, I don't know. Actually,
Oh wait, there's some marches from 89CG here next to the Desert Altar. If they get first cap, they could at least stall it for a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm checking out the Sky Altars. Oh, Sky Altar. Hold up. Ton of VOOK players at the Sky Altar as well.
Oh, yeah. VOOK being able to take the Sky Altar. Desert Altar flipped to 89CG. VOOK's Desert Altar, rather, but it looks like it's going to get swarmed down rather soon here.
Captain is in. So I think, however, it's just going to be really difficult to hold. Can we marvel for just a moment at the marches being used? Plato, you know, we were solo casting last week, so we didn't get to really talk about some of this stuff, but what do you think about Ethel Trajan?
Yeah, you don't really see Ethel Flood primary in KVKs, but the support tree, any support tree commander, which is also why you see Joan Prime primary, the extra march speed is just such a good tech for Osiris League, so that it's really important to have a lot of march speed in Osiris League so that you can get from point A to point B as fast as possible. And that's
right.
kind of the rationale behind most players going cav marches. We see a lot of cav marches out there. You won't see that many infantry marches. You might see the CPO Liu Ches out in the open field because those are practically cav marches with how much march speed they have.
Did I just hear you call an infantry march practically a cav march? Holy moly, they're moving fast.
They are moving super, super fast. But yeah, those are the types of marches you'll be seeing out in the open field. And maybe for people at home, for your art games, to use these cav marches and to train those cav up, because you'll need a lot of cav to contend with the top teams.
Well, I'll say this. VOOK might be a community team, but you wouldn't know it from the way the board looks right now. They've got actually a weirdly mirrored situation, I think, where they've each got each other's Shrine of War.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like VOOK actually overloaded one side compared to the other in the beginning of the game.
Yeah. They overloaded their weak side, which, like, okay, I get it. You really want to protect your altar. And they did. I mean, and they did, right? And they were able to push forward. And, I mean, they tried to take the Sky Altar as well on that side. It didn't work out. But I like that idea of saying, like, hey, we're going to overload our weak side, then use the excess to push down to the enemy side of the map. I think that's a nice idea. Now, hey, getting back to these march combinations, all right? We see the Skippy Liu Che. And also, what do you think of the cav combos here? A lot of cavalry on this map.
Yeah. I'm seeing Hua cubing with William. I see a lot of XYs with Justinians. I believe it's Joan of Arc with Nevsky. And I think there's a lot of things to be said looking at these specific combos in events like the Grand Prix or the Grand Finals, where every single player has the same access to all the commanders, because they're choosing these commanders to be the best of the best because they have all of the commanders. So
I mean, yeah, triple cav setup, bro.
Yeah,
triple cav. I mean,
quadruple if you count the Ethelfled.
Yeah,
because Ethelfled's full cav as well.
That's right. 4 cav if you include Ethelfled. So I drew this conclusion last week that, like, dude, if you can shape your open field marches to be a triple cav configuration, it seems like that's just straight meta, at least as determined by these players in the Grand Prix, when they could do literally whatever they want. I mean, you'd almost think, you know, what can you counter this cav meta, the 4x cav march meta, by bringing more infantry? I don't think the infantry are good enough to do that, right? So the march speed really is the reason. And when you think about it, so much of this map is determined by march speed, right? Like what flaw could you not offset with more troops in the right place at the right time, right? So how do you accomplish that? Well, you can get better at timing, or you could just walk faster. So yeah, that's the easier way. Just make your marches move faster. And cavalry have a base march speed of, I believe, 80, compared to, isn't it? Gosh, I don't want to get this wrong off the top of my head, but it's like 70 for archers, 65 for infantry, I believe. So, you know, the units just move faster by design. And, you know, I mean, they are on a horse, so they should go fast.
Yeah. I'm just going to double check. I think the cavalry base for let me just check here. For T5, cavalry base is 80.
Oh, I got that right. Let's go.
For archers, cavalry base, archer base is 70, and then it is also 70 for, it's 65 rather for infantry. So
there it is. I got it right. Hey, Chisco Gaming gets the trivia. Let's go. Ooh, sentries. Sentries do have vision to each other here. Sentries down. Also, would you look at this, bro? VOOK has 3 altars. 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's gonna add up. 440 to 410 for now in the points per minute, but that could change pretty quickly once they start ticking those altars for points.
Yeah, I believe VOOK was able to capture either the Shrine of War here. Mystical Formations use
Mystical Total Vision.
There you go. The double blue skills.
Oh, that's interesting. So they're going for 1 more ability point worth of value here, assuming that, because it costs more, it's actually better. Then they do have a little bit of an edge going into this fight. We do see a couple double C's floating around in that ball. It's kind of hectic in there, but that is a stationary arc carrier up top. I sort of have them selected on the screen. VOOK positioning now to go pick up that arc and run it back to their own side. Arc doesn't spawn, however, for another 30 seconds. Plato, what are your thoughts on dedicated arc carrying marches?
I definitely think you should have a couple of them. We saw a lot of the top teams have specific arc carriers, just because it's a responsibility that you kind of won't. In my opinion, it's good to allocate to an individual or to a couple individuals in this case, because imagine like you're fighting the people that are in the open field that have the open field marches could consistently focus on the open field compared to having in the back of their mind, is someone going to capture the arc, or is like, what should we do? Should we all just tap the arc? If everyone taps the arc at the same time on your team, you're going to lose the open field murder ball, because your marches are not going to be skill cycling, or they're not going to be hitting other open field marches here. So in my opinion, I feel like it's a pretty good idea to have someone allocated or have a couple marches allocated to arc carrying, just so that and if they do fall, if they do die, then in comms you could be like, the arc carrier, our arc carrier is dead, then the open field marches could allocate some of their marches towards carrying the arc. So
when
I
you
think
have
it's just
a dedicated
makes it a
arc
lot more
carrier,
streamlined. Yeah.
You're kind of saying, you know what, our ball can be a little bit weaker. We accept that for the upside of hopefully moving the arc to our side. No, that's what VOOK did, but it turns out to not matter in this instance because the fight took long enough that 89 seems to have locked up this first arc. But locked up is a funny way of describing it, isn't it, Plato?
We've had so many arc steals this season. I feel like more than any other season in the past Osiris League, and even in the start of this Grand Prix here. So we'll have to see what happens with a 90 HP, 90k HQ or Huaki Bing here, walking it back. Nothing is for certain here, and as they put a sentry down next to this desert altar, I think there might be some contest from VOOK here.
There is definitely an opportunity. Lane is still open on the south end of the canyon leading into the arc area, but I do really like the amount of escort currently from 89, although I get anxious that they're all swinging around the corner so fast. They see the XY is coming in on the carrier, and they're not turning around to deal with it. So this could get pretty awkward. I see Baba's got a march trying to go assist. Arvik's now peeling off to work on this carrier. The slow from Huo might do the job, but it's too late, I think. Carrier now has the XY on them. There goes the slow from the Huo. It's not yet enough, though, to actually peel for Minerva, the carrier. Pain turns on the march on the arc as well. But this is the sneak around here. Another march going
down.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough here, though, to really stall this arc in a meaningful way, right? Like, we assumed they might be able to go for it, but no, this Desert Altar is swarming with 89 players. So 89 is looking pretty good on this arc.
Yeah, it looks like a clean cap from here on out. There are a couple more VOOK marches around the arc here, but I will say that all VOOK needs to do is stall with their point advantage, having 3 altars consistently. They're pretty much up 4K at this point. Above
they sure are. Wow.
89 CG. So this is actually to their advantage, where 89 CG will probably just insta-capture at this point because they're behind in points. Now they just captured the Sky Altar, so they are stabilizing the structure game a little bit here. But
did VOOK get the first capture points for the Sky Altar?
I believe they got the first capture points to one of the structures here. I think it might have been the Shrine of War. I'm not too sure if it was a Sky Altar though.
They might have gotten first cap on the Sky Altar because the point differential here is too high.
Super wide, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely wider than it should be. I think what happened is while we were looking at other parts of the map, right, VOOK took this Sky Altar, 89 CG had to swarm it, but then remember we were like, oh, look, they have 3 altars for the fight in the middle. So I think they actually took that back before first cap went to 89 and then held it for the first cap, which gave them truly a massive advantage here. And oh my gosh, look at that slam dunk by Arvix scoring the arc right away. So to me, this signals, hey, you know what? You think you're good in mid? Prove it. I love that confidence coming from 89 here to try to get that mid fight. And, you know, hey, look, if you're keeping track of the points, and you should be, we've got them on the screen, there's a whole extra ability point in the pocket of 89. And they're lower on the scoreboard, which means they get ability points faster. So rushing the arc here, if they can pull it off, means they could have an advantage going into this next mid fight.
Yeah, I'm really. It's such an interesting play to capture the arc right away because we've always seen especially within the past couple of games in Osiris League and in Grand Prix, that people tend to hold it, but they knew that if they just kept holding the arc, it'd be to their disadvantage because they were down, and they're just like, yeah, we'll win through mid. This is them declaring that they will win through mid. So we'll have to see in the next 7 minutes here if they could continue on the mid dominance, because yeah, they were pretty dominant in that mid fight to begin with less skills as well, less skill points allocated, as you said. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see how VOOK responds here. They need to continue pressuring these structures, or else it'll be really, really tough for them if they have a similar result to the last mid fight. So
Honestly, I love that insight and I love this play. I mean, it's such a confident play and it's signaling what they think they are best at, right? I mean, you don't do that move. And we so rarely see that move where they dunk the arc because teams generally seem to regard each other as relatively equal in a mid fight. But I love 89 declaring this is how we win, right? This is how we fight, and they're either going to win or lose doing it. And, well, you look at this map and you see why they had to do it. They're now down.
yeah,
The team VOOK has pulled all 4 altars. Okay, as I say the word 4, one flips back red. You know, 89 clowning me a little bit there on my declaration, but you love to see these buildings changing hands, and there they are, back to a 2-2 situation. All right. What do you think of these garrison choices, by the way? I feel like we've mostly watched VOOK swarming 89. They seem to be all in on the Hera YSS. What are your thoughts on that choice?
Yeah, Heraclius and YSS are just a really, really good pair, especially in Arc, just because in this situation where you can only fill with one march at a time, you can't really dictate what marches are around the structure. If you have a garrison that allows you to garrison with everything, it proves to be beneficial because at least you'll be able to garrison with whatever march. And it's all about keeping the garrison full at this point instead of troop type, which is why I think we're seeing a lot of Heraclius YSS. And I think for VOOK, on the other hand, for the structures that they are actually capturing, I see a lot of Jan Heraclius or Jad Heraclius, the Cav garrisons, just because of the movement speed to get to the opponent's desert altar or shrines, for example. Those are the garrisons that I'm seeing from the VOOK side in terms of even in their home structures as well. The extra movement speed just proving to be that beneficial. And I guess it's also because a lot of the marches that they're filling with are cavalry, because a lot of their marches are cavalry. So you can fill a Jan and a Jad pretty confidently.
Yeah, I mean, when 4 out of 5 field marches are cavalry, a Cav garrison could be pretty good. And I do think Jadwiga is still a somewhat surprising choice. You know, like I would think Janziska would kind of be where it's at. But I wonder if we actually took a more detailed look at the kits of those commanders, we might find that Jadwiga is perhaps a little more defensive. And in a lot of ways, that's kind of the thing you care about, is just surviving long enough to score more points or to stall your enemy from scoring more points in one of these buildings. Now, to your point, if everybody's bringing mostly cavalry, why would we use Hera YSS? Like, Hera YSS is great when you have lots of different troop types represented, but I think we don't have that situation here.
Yeah, a lot of AoE, I guess, with Heraclius Circle AoE, YSS, Cone Shape AoE. There is some anti-swarm with that as well. So I guess it's just a jack of all trades type of garrison where you could feel safe with that garrison, especially since, you know, if you're capturing a structure in a game mode such as Ark of Osiris, you're definitely going to be swarming. So,
you know, here's my read on this one. I think, the more we talk about this, I think that You're right. It's a really good anti-swarm garrison. And people are going to be swarming structures even without a rally in some instances. So it does well there. But also, Hera is shielding. And so it's a garrison that's more about survival than damage, I think. And the damage it deals is primarily in that counterattack damage, which is exactly what you'd want to take out those swarmers over time. It's funny, in ARC, more than anywhere else, just living longer is enough. It is worth a lot. Because that extra time, even if it's seconds, means perhaps another march gets in the garrison and it lives to fight on. So I think when you look at what Jan Zizka does, which is more of a damage route, that might be why they're sort of landing on that Hera YSS for this game mode.
Yeah, maybe. That might be the case. Just trying to survive as much as possible is the number one goal for sure. Get as much points as possible. VOOK going in here
prowl,
to the death used by 89 CG. So, and to the death responded by VOOK.
Mirrored play here. I'd really like to see 89 use their 2-point ability. Honestly, I think it's really smart that VOOK pushed when they did. Because if they had waited even 30 seconds, there'd be another combat ability available. So this could be really big. So if 89 doesn't get to use this extra combat ability for 2 points, and if VOOK gets the arc, VOOK can stall the arc for long enough, if they wanted, to invalidate those points from 89. So if I'm at 89 right now, I would activate this 2-point ability right away, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't.
Well, they just got it. There it is.
Oh, there you go.
They just got it and they activated it. I feel like they have to. And if they don't get this arc, they actually have a big problem, right? Like, they lose, maybe, if they don't get this arc because they're down on points and they're not winning the building game. So, like, this was really critical. I think this is, shockingly well played by VOOK, quite frankly, to push when they did. That was, I mean, either an amazingly happy accident or a reflection of deep skill, right? To know if we push now, we can get them before those 2 extra points are available. And there goes the arc, baby.
This arc carrier needs to run because it looks like 89 CG, even though they didn't have the extra skill in the beginning, they still won this mid fight. And yeah, they played into this mid fight. They opted into this mid fight, so they had to win this. This was their lifeline to continue on, to kind of even up the score. And actually, if they score this arc as it is right now, they'll actually take the lead.
Yep. There is some amount of presence with the carrier, although my anxiety is starting to rise with the low number of marches. We do see possibly an assault formation coming together here from VOOK to pressure this position.
In the inner lane over here.
Gosh, I think they're going for it. And
they 100%
think
are.
If we look at what the red team can see, they have no visibility whatsoever to this massive assault that's on its way in. I mean, they are completely blind. They only see the tip of the iceberg, which is a couple of these marches, and now it's more marches, more marches, more marches. I think they have no clue what's about to hit them. Hello, arc carrier? Okay. They had to pick up the arc again. They're moving again. But they're alone.
I think the wise move for them would to just switch lanes right now.
That would be so smart.
They know that there's a lot of VOOK marches in this bottom lane here. So it does look like they are switching lanes.
Yeah, that is a extremely smart play from 89. If they send that, nope. Oh, no. Arc is left again. Oh, no.
There you go. It's like, oops, actually, no, I'm going
buddy?
Dude, I choose
this carrier is on a freaking island. I mean, there are times where the carrier is alone, but they've
it's actually alone. Yeah, this is actually quarantined.
Very alone. Oh my gosh. And now Assault Squad from VOOK is kind of, moving in on that position, although a few marches peel off. Oh, what a bummer. These marches must not realize how alone this carrier is, but don't worry, a VOOK scout is on their way to go figure it out. Joan Prime, hasty departure. He says, wait a minute. Hey, guys, the ARC carrier is alone. The ARC carrier is alone.
Yeah. Oh,
Converge
my goodness.
on the ARC carrier, right? Like, they've got to be screaming in voice that this carrier is super vulnerable. Oh, no.
VOOK do control 3 of their outposts, so they have full vision of the ARC. They have full vision of the ARC.
This could be a big problem. ARC is down.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, more marches moving to the outpost. I am.
Yep.
Dude, in my brain, there's this calculation I do that's like, what's the % chance that VOOK gets this ARC? And right now it's just like rising so fast. Looks like VOOK is trying to run the ARC, however, the other way. I honestly would have considered running it to the outpost, quite frankly.
I think the thought process, if I were VOOK, is it's either we go for the 70-30 play of trying to capture this outpost, or we try to stall the ARC for as long as possible and as they hold 4 altars, because 89CG had to rotate a bunch of marches to cover this ARC now. They're able to use that pressure to capture these 4 altars here. So it's like, all right, let's just keep this ARC as far away from structures as possible so that perhaps they could get enough of a lead from their 4 altars where this ARC captured actually just evens out the game rather than puts 89CG ahead.
Yeah, I think there was a window of opportunity here to 93 this ARC, and I think they didn't take it.
Yeah.
So, hey, look, we know that this is meta in the international servers to sneak up on the carrier and take.
Oh my goodness. Look at the points per minute just go 810 to 180 points per minute for VOOK. So
you know what? You don't have to take out the carrier if you've got all 4 altars, and it is shocking that they are able to hold all 4 altars. Like, that is really, really shocking.
Yeah, it's one thing because VOOK, I guess it kind of read the pages here where they have a lot of marches at the opponent's altars. So they have a lot of marches allocated to the Sky altar, a lot of marches allocated to the Desert altar. But when it comes to their own Desert altar, they actually don't have any presence there. So because of that, they're able to hold the Sky altar. But because 89CG, their marches that were supposed to be attacking the Desert altar were trying to make sure that the ARC wasn't captured by VOOK, instead of being able to pressure the Desert altar, they've just been essentially able to get these points for free without that much pressure. So
yeah. You remember what you were saying earlier about, well, hey, these guys are going to have a advantage on points if they score this ARC. I don't know if they will anymore. By the way,
they will not.
Did they? I think they used a 2-point ability.
They did. VOOK used Dust Up in the middle of this. They used Dust Up.
That's surprising. So using Dust Up there signals we think you may hold the ARC, and if you do, we don't need these ability points, so we're going to use them now. I mean, I think they're trying to go for the Total Vision Mystical Formation combination when they go for this next ARC. That's what that tells me. I suppose they could Master Strategist, but even Saladin's on the open field right now, man.
Yeah, Saladin, I'm looking at the Saladin. Hey, Saladin, good old Saladin, right? He's not part of the 4th march. He's not part of the 3rd march, but maybe the 4th march is a Saladin. So it just shows how much cavalry they're using out in the open field right now.
Back in my day, you could get Saladin in KVK1.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Dude, when Saladin and Khan came out, Khan Double C Rally was absolutely cracked.
Khan Double C, that's crazy to hear about right now.
Oh yeah, Khan Double C was busted. You get hit by that and you think about your life choices differently, let me tell you. Back in the day, because what were you rallying with? Like Minamoto with Barca or some like we didn't have Thutmose, we didn't have Pyrrhus back in my day in KVK1.
Back in Rise of Civilizations.
Yeah, back in the Rise of Civilizations days when you didn't even queue for KVK, you just got told, hey, you're in KVK, here's who you're with, you know? Like,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
were different times. Dude.
It does look like 89CG is starting to recapture these desert altars, at least to stem the bleeding. They're still not gaining points. And I kind of, it's interesting to see this VOOK strategy where they're like, all right, let's just full defend the Sky Altar and just give them the Desert Altar. But we'll have to see what happens here in this next arc fight, because VOOK has been so dominant with the structures. But if 89CG are able to capture another arc, it might be another even game here. So
yeah, I mean, VOOK is asking some tough questions here, right? Like, can you keep up with our building game? And so far, the answer has been, yeah, I mean, we can keep up, but we can't get ahead, right? So 89 needs to figure out how they actually get ahead here. And a part of how they do that is, well, every arc is worth more points. So assuming they can continue to win these arc fights, they will accelerate their velocity on that point gain in a pretty meaningful way. Each arc is what, like 500 more points than the previous. So,
yeah,
you know, the
and one
fourth
thing
arc
too,
is like
they have
5,000
3 altars
points
right now. Right? They're doing exactly what they need to, where it's not mid right now, so they were able to use their open field marches to capture the desert altar, hold their own altars, to stem the bleeding a little bit. The points are even at the moment, and that's with them without gaining points from their own desert altar. So if they continue to gain these points and kind of keep the game where it is, and then they're able to capture the arc, they still have a win condition here, Chisco.
In VOOK, you're saying they have a win condition? Oh
in
yeah.
89CG.
Oh, in
89
89CG.
CG.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where
both of them have a win condition in this next arc. Like, if VOOK gets this arc, it's GG, right?
Yep.
And if 89 gets this arc, it could be GG if they stabilize the buildings. So, like, this, every arc that shows up is critical in this matchup. Which, like, I don't know if that's been true for every other match we've been casting, you know? Like, this is a shockingly close match.
It's an interesting change to the capture arc, hold for 15 minutes and force 2 arc meta, where 89CG, I guess they also knew that VOOK would go towards a structure game where it's like, okay, if that's the case, we're going to go full mid. We're going to try to hold our structures, of course. So we're not going to give it to you for free, but we are going to be contesting mid and making it so that we'll have 4 arcs in this game, or 3 arcs rather. And I think if they insta capture this, there might be a 4th one, which is a far cry from what we usually see in international servers.
You know, I really like how this match is shaping up. Like I find the hold the arc gameplay, while I understand it's kind of meta, to be not as exciting as what's happening here. Yeah. It's way more exciting to see as many mid slugfests as we can possibly get. So I actually like that this match is more oriented towards fast-paced mid fights and less sort of methodical planning.
89CG are now up 600. Oh no! Now, as soon as I say that, they captured the Desert Altar, but 530 points per minute to 380 points per minute for VOOK. So they're slowly gaining on the lead here, making it so this arc is probably do or die for both teams, where VOOK wants to capture it so that they secure the game, and if 89CG capture and hold their own structures, they're probably going to win the game on their side.
So these 2 sentries are actually really important. And it looks like VOOK is trying to sneak around here, but the sentries are preventing that from happening. And I don't know which side. Oh, Okay, they
Wow, both sentries down.
unusual, right? What happens if you're attacking a sentry and your own sentry gets destroyed so you can't see the sentry you're attacking anymore? Do you stop attacking?
Yeah, I have no idea. That's
I
a
have no
great
idea.
question.
Yeah. We were about to find out, but maybe they just tied. It's hard to say. There's Dust Up and Total Vision having been activated. So Dust Up was for 89, Total Vision for VOOK.
And VOOK are out of skills. They're out of skill points here.
Yeah.
One skill point to an extra 4 for 89 CG.
I guess they needed those extra points to get the buildings, but like it sort
Oh
of
yeah, they're going super heavy building game. They have people surrounding the Sky Altar, people surrounding the Desert Altar.
Yeah.
So VOOK is like, hey, we lost mid. We're probably going to lose mid again. Let's just go for these buildings. And the marches that were on the side here are now attacking the transitioning marches of 89 CG, trying to defend their own Desert Altar.
I really like this play by VOOK, quite frankly. I mean, you'll hear me say in almost every live stream that having a point lead gives you options, right?
Yeah.
Like VOOK would win this game by either overly dominating in buildings or by winning the arc. And 89 doesn't have a choice. They have to get this arc. So, you know, having choices means that you can control kind of where your troops are going. So 89 had no choice but to full commit to this arc. If they didn't full commit to this arc and VOOK did, then they just lose the game outright.
Yep.
And you can't afford that possibility. So knowing that, VOOK went buildings and it's paying off. All 4 altars. I mean, this is a catastrophe for 89 if they can't stabilize their buildings. And the other thing that I think is really worth pointing out about the way VOOK is playing in mid right now is they've mostly avoided committing. Did you see that? And they're doing this back and forth thing. So they're trying to dance around to hold 89 in the middle with too many marches. It's really smart.
They're fighting like it's KVK right now. The murder ball is going back and forth. So
oh god,
it's like such an interesting strat here, where it's like, all right, let's just pull them all over the place. And now in NCG, they kind of have to decide which way to go. Like, how do we do this? They have so many marches allocated to this mid, but no one to fight. Meanwhile, Sky Altar has a bunch of VOOK marches. Desert Altar has a bunch of VOOK marches. So if they don't capture this arc soon, and if they don't capture their Sky Altar or their altars soon, it's going to be a really, really bad way for 89 CG here.
Yeah, I mean, the good news for them is that there is still time for yet another arc if they score this really quickly. Right? If they score this in the next...
Maybe they pull the Drago strat where they master strategies the arc. That'd be an insane way to win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Did they use an ability that dropped more points or no?
Oh, they did.
Somebody used an ability.
VOOK used Dust Up.
For a second, I could have swore that one of these teams still had 6 points, but I guess not. So yeah, Master Strategist could be the way they take the next arc though, right? That's what we're basically saying. Is there's enough time, even if they score this arc in a little bit longer than you'd ideally like in this situation, they could still Master Strategist the next arc. And they're going to have to at this rate. They actually are going to have to at this rate.
Yeah, look, it's such a bold call because you're essentially sacking mid. You're essentially giving them the arc, but you are, putting all your resources into these structures. There's a lot of confidence in and coordination that we haven't seen from what you call the community teams, right? So these guys have definitely been playing together. They definitely trust each other. It takes a lot of trust because, the kind of standard is we have to fight for this arc. It's the last arc, but they're like, nope, we're just gonna go structures and we're gonna trust that our points per minute will prevail, and we'll have to see if that happens.
I mean, it's working. So
NCG was able to recapture their Desert Altar, so that's the first step. The next step is they definitely have to capture their own Sky Altar. That's going to be crucial. There's no way that their Sky Altars should be providing points for VOOK if they want to win this game.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? Like, I keep finding myself in situations where I ask people to explain the plan, like you're in a heist movie and you're, planning to rob a bank, right? What's the 5-step plan, right? So like, if you're 89, right, your game plan is score this arc, stem the bleeding on buildings, master strategist home the next arc, and, walk away riding out into the sunset as the victor. If you're VOOK,
Arc dropped.
right, like your heist plan is stall the arc as much as possible, keep as many building points as you can to extend your lead, and try to prevent the final arc score and just stall the final arc, right?
Yeah.
So each team kind of has a route to victory here. And you see, look at this, 89. I mean, they're taking it right to the Shrine of War, and they need to.
Yeah.
But this will give them no, you're going the wrong way. It's going to give them plenty of time to like actually do this thing.
The real question is, will they have enough points?
I think
They have 2 points.
they could.
8 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe.
to Master Strategist?
To Master Strategist.
I think so. I mean, they only have to do it like, I mean, they have, 12 minutes to Master Strategist and 1 minute to walk after they cast Master Strategist, right? Like, I think they'll have enough. Even if they don't Master Strategist, like, the second the arc spawns, which is the one thing they should not do, by the way. They should not do that.
It's flashy, though.
Bro. Yeah, it's also risky. It's flashy. Oh, man. You're not wrong. It is very flashy. I mean, hey, look, it's better entertainment if they want to do it. But, if you, don't want to gamba on actually landing the arc, I would not do that. Oh, my God. I mean, I think you pointed this out in a previous match we were casting together. Like, the real issue of mistiming that is
you're literally leaving the arc.
Yeah, it's
to
less
your
about
opponents.
we missed the timing, and more about and that also transported our only other way of scoring the arc away from the middle. That's the issue.
Yeah. The grand finals was so interesting with that last arc with 89. I mean, 93T and 60GT. They both weren't able to capture the arc with Master Strategist. I think we're going to go down to one of those endings here, Chisco.
I think we are. It's really exciting. I mean, that's the kind of match you want to see, quite frankly. So the points per minute here are still dominant, but like not insane for VOOK. You're looking at 330 points per minute of advantage, which, like, that's 3,000 points, 3,300 points over the course of 10 minutes, right? But here we see a critical altar flip for 89. So I'm on another altar flip over here for VOOK. So this is pretty tough of a situation to be in here. It's going to be very close. And let's just walk through the calculus here again, right? So if you're VOOK,
Yep.
If you don't go to the middle, can you dominate enough in the building game that you just win?
I think they are approaching that point where, like they're approaching that point where this next arc, I think they have to create like a 4K point buffer for that to be viable. But I don't know. It's really risky because they really, really trust their points per minute if that's the case. Where it's like, all right, we're gonna trust in the points per minute. We're gonna try to capture these structures as much as possible. Well, I think they pretty much have they're like in the trajectory to be able to do so though. Or they could ignore mid, and if they just capture the altars, then they win off points per minute by themselves.
I feel like they're going to send a distraction force to mid again, maybe.
Yeah.
Because if you don't need to go for the arc and you've lost literally every arc up to this point, I mean, I don't think you go mid. So when is it advantageous for VOOK to go mid? The reason it would be advantageous for VOOK to go mid is if 89 commits to buildings, right? So if 89 were to commit to buildings, assuming that VOOK would go mid, then if VOOK goes heavy mid, they just straight win. Like outright, they're going to win the game. So if you're 89, you actually have to still commit to middle because otherwise you run the risk of guaranteed losing. So the only way to prevent a guaranteed loss is actually to push middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
assuming that they can stabilize the building game enough. If they don't stabilize the building game enough right now, which like it's pretty precarious here, then actually they have to commit very lightly to middle and even out the building game, or they also guaranteed lose, right?
Yeah, it's such a hard
The
play
balance
for
here is
89
really close.
CG.
Yeah.
Like you have to perfectly send your marches to the right place at the right time. And that's what makes the fog so interesting, where you don't have full vision, you don't have full knowledge of what your opponents are doing. So the amount of marches that you send to one place at one time might mismatch. So you might win that one objective. But A9CG at this point, they kind of have to be even on everything and win mid. Like that's what they have to do.
Right.
But without full vision, it's just so much harder to do so.
Yeah, you just don't know. And now I will say, right, they've evened up the building game. So if they can maintain this position, right, then they're in a good spot. Once the points actually start ticking, which they aren't yet. But once they are, if they can flip this building, if they can flip this building, and like this is why, by the way, you see the Hero YSS, I think.
Heraclius, walk in.
Wow.
So close, so close.
This is why, right? Like, if you can live for even just a few seconds longer, like, that's it. They locked in 2 more full marches of support. They're going to win that building, right?
Winning a structure by 1 march is the same as winning it by a million. So you still get the same amount of points, and that's huge for them. That is huge.
Yo, the duck face with the shades getting thrown here is the emoji. And you can see VOOK with the mid commit here. So VOOK is kind of doing what I was suggesting, which is that like, if you think your opponent has to go buildings to even things up, then you actually could commit mid and try to win the arc, and you guarantee you win the game if you do this.
Yeah.
That's the danger of an opponent with a point lead, is that they could do they could make different choices, whereas your choices are more predictable as the person who's behind. Like you have to do more, and so it's easier to guess what that player or that team is going to do. Oh man.
Yeah, I feel like VOOK is so good at pulling apart. We're gonna go this way, we're gonna go that way. They have people mid, but they also have the Desert Altar full swarmed right now. And then 89CG, they're really good at murder balling up together and kind of pushing one objective together. But when they get one objective, which is they chose to be mid and arc, VOOK get 2 altars, and that's been the trade over and over and over again. As VOOK captures another Desert Altar here, which is super detrimental to the points per minute here.
Absolutely devastating. I mean, the fact that VOOK keeps all these buildings and has entered middle first is really problematic for 89. 89 was not in mid yet. And so you see VOOK is getting a trade advantage in the middle. And, okay, why do trades matter? Well, okay, we're not really talking about trades. We're talking about how many marches are left. And there's more VOOK here than there is 89. Now, I do think that there was enough time till the arc spawn that some of these 89 marches are actually going to sad face and make it back to middle, which will hurt VOOK. So it's really hard to say, like, if that early attack was correct, but I see why they did it. And you can see they own the middle now. Yeah, no, actually, this is looking really good for VOOK. They're gonna get this arc. They're actually gonna get this arc.
Yeah, that is crazy. The arc fight that they needed to win, they won. So 5 seconds left until this arc spawns.
So look, there's 4 minutes and 50 seconds left, and there's still Master Strategist. So we got to be careful about being too declarative that they've already won the middle, because here comes a bunch of marches, and none other than Baba TC Ataturk to come in and potentially take down this carrier. But he doesn't even need to because his team has taken them down. So Baba TC swinging from around the back, moving toward the middle here. He's mostly just ambushing, right? Like he's murking in the back and it's working. He's finding advantages where he outnumbers an opponent, swings in on him, brings him to red, moves on to somebody else. So now it's exciting, baby. Now
this is so interesting.
The scoreboard's a little scary though if you are in 89
CG. Yeah, they flipped both altars. So 89 CG are not producing points per minute from their altars at this point.
I don't think 89 can win, actually. Even if they get this arc, they don't have the points per minute.
Yeah, it's tough.
This is a 5K arc, right? How many arcs have they scored?
I will say VOOK really chose the most climactic ending by choosing to go both at the same time. They didn't commit to structures. They didn't commit to mid. They decided to try to do both. So I think this is probably like the best scenario for 89 CG, just because if VOOK just wanted to go full structure, then they would have insta-won. But if they wanted to go full mid, they probably would have won that as well. So I don't know. Is there provisioners or like what?
You know you're reaching for answers when we start talking about provisioners. I do think that it's very critical. I think that 89 used Dust Up now.
Oh, VOOK is actually provisioning.
I think 89 needs to use Dust Up. I think they have the points for it as well, so they may as well.
Yeah. Like, they got to win this mid as soon as possible.
I think they have enough time to do that, regenerate enough points, and still use Master Strategist. So I think they should do that. But the points per minute are going to be the issue here. It's
5K
so
differential.
close.
5K differential.
I think a Provisioner came home to shrink the differential. Yeah.
VOOK actually have... I see like 5 VOOK provisioners right now. So yeah. they're the ones actually provisioning. They're like, all right, there's only 2 minutes left. A walking mid probably won't do anything. Let's try to provision a couple.
This is so hectic. It's so hectic.
Points. I think 89 CG just have to throw it up there and like, all right, let's just try to cap it. And
they still have plenty of time to use Master Strategist here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not stable. And that's the issue.
Everyone's just going full mid. I
feel like somewhere around.
VOOK Master Strategist.
Okay. Oh. There it is. VOOK's using Strategist.
This is so bad for 89 CG. The reinforcements are going to come from the back. What are they going to do?
So they're bringing marches to the fight?
They're bringing marches to the fight so that they can't capture this arc. Look at that. Whoa.
Oh my God.
The reinforcements have arrived. The reinforcements are here.
There it is. So now 89 basically needs to Gamba. Yep. That's what they have to do.
Oh, there you go.
They have to.
Will they be able to pull it off?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
The problem is that they didn't get the arc.
So they didn't get the arc.
This was a correct gamble. They need to try to pick up the arc. If they pick up the arc before this ability finishes, then they're fine. Oh my gosh. Oh, off by seconds.
Nope. That was so close.
Wow. It was a correct gamble there.
I feel like they should have done that before. I guess they didn't know the point differential and like the whole master strategies thing.
So but even if they score this arc, they're not winning, right?
Yeah.
Like we look at this differential, and even if they score this arc, they're off by just a little bit here. This is an insane match. I mean,
the provisioners at the end, they actually provisioned 2K points, Chisco.
No shot.
They provisioned 2K.
Wow.
GG's to both teams. Wow. What a
match.
Entertaining game. I feel like it's a clash of styles. Mid focus versus structure focus. But at the end of the day, VOOK was able to win here.
Yeah. I mean, weirdly enough, I kind of feel like the structure focus is the superior strategy, because you can get a lead early, and once you have an early lead, you can kind of control what you're doing, whereas the opponent has to do certain things in order to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But regardless, 0 arcs for VOOK,
That's insane.
32,000 points of occupation, and 3,300 points of provisioning. How do you even do that?
That is complete opposite of what 89CG were trying to do with 10.5k points from arc.
Right.
3 arcs captured. But GG's to both teams. That was such an interesting game and clash of styles.
So if 89 had scored that last arc, then unironically provisioning would have been the most important thing.
Provisioning would have been the difference. Yeah.
Bro. Yeah. That's surprising. Wow. Well, I mean, there you have it, folks. The winner here, VOOK, an amazing game to cast. And thank goodness, because, hey, look, for your casters here today, we woke up at 6 a.m. to prep for this cast.
This woke me up, for sure. This woke us up for sure. We wake up early.
We love to see a good match, and this was definitely a good one. So if you want to see more matches just like this, subscribe to the channel. Things are only going to heat up. And linked in the description is also my channel, Chiscool Gaming, and Plato's channel, so you can go check us out for more Rise of Kingdoms guides and videos, as I say on my channel, designed to help you get value and smash your enemies, all right? Any thoughts before we conclude today's cast, Plato?
Yeah, clash of styles here, and I'm going to be really, really looking forward to the quarters and the semis and the finals. So be sure to subscribe to the Rise of Kingdoms channel, because the clash of styles, Chinese server versus international server, it's going to be so interesting to watch.
It's only going to heat up, folks. We'll be back in just under an hour for the next round of matches, so we hope to see you there. Until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom, and we'll see y'all real soon.